Hello, everybody. Welcome to Better Together. When you know better, you get better. That's what we do here every single day. It is Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. Our quote of the day: to appreciate the beauty of a snowflake, it is necessary to stand out in the cold. Ooh!
I know.
Just some Greek guy named Aristotle. You know us Greeks. We're just...
I read that and was like, ooh, baby.
Whoa. Okay, let me say this again. To appreciate the beauty of a snowflake, it is necessary to stand out in the cold. Okay, so stand out in the cold, what does he mean? He means like it's gotta suck?
Yeah.
You gotta go low to go high.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm seeing it as like, really, anytime we understand beauty, it's all relative to things that are challenging, right? So like, I think even like right now, Maria, you've done such a beautiful job of understanding the beauty of this challenging situation with your mom. But to do that, you have to be in it, you know? So I think that's what it's saying. Aristotle was a pretty smart guy.
Yeah. Well, damn. Welcome to our East Coast studio, everybody. We've been broadcasting here as we are taking care of my mom and making sure she's around family. It is a snowy Connecticut.
Yes, it is.
We love the snow because we really aren't having to shovel, which is fine. And it's not a forever thing. I don't think I could do it forever. No. But it is a fun little spice. And this past weekend, I ran out to get us all snowsuits so that we would be prepared for when we want to make our snow angels for Instagram. Let's be real. So we can try to make Jeff Graham jealous.
Yeah, outdo us.
And so Kevin and I went to Dick's Sporting Goods and got the last remaining like snow pants and snow uniforms. And then as we were checking out, I go, "What's that?" And they're like, "Oh, those are sleds." And I'm like, oh, "We need a sled." So we got a sled. And so we're going to figure something out.
I love it.
Somehow, some way, we'll figure it out.
Tried to go for a walk down the driveway this morning and almost died about 3 times.
Yeah, well, because you can't see where the ice is now because it's covered by snow. Kelsey.
I know. But it was still nice to be outside.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, oh, okay, we're going back.
Yeah, I think we just need skis now.
Please, I'm into it.
Buy skis so we can just cross-country ski all over the property.
Please, Kevin.
Cross-country ski or the snowshoes. We never
Do
got.
the snowshoes slide?
No, the cross-country skis are more fun.
Yeah.
Snowshoes are more practical.
Yeah. I feel like we need like mini skis. They must have like mini
sure
ones
do.
for cross-country, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're called snow blades, just so you know, those
Really?
little mini skis. Yeah, so if you look for snow blades, you should be able to find them.
Honey, can you go on like the Facebook market and find some used ones?
Listen, it's funny. This was a segment on Regular Guy Friday coming up this Friday.
Of course.
But
Yep.
now we'll do it today.
I'm ready. I skied growing up, so every time I see the snow, I'm like, yes! It just reminds me of skiing, so
So
throw some
I was
skis
in
on me.
ski club in high school, and I have a few ski experiences. So one, I did a race at Wachusett Mountain, and I actually did really well, which was my first time ever racing. I don't remember exactly, and I don't want to like fib, even though I'm not fibbing, I just don't remember properly. But I came in like a good place. It was either like I either won or came in like second place or something. I did really, really well, and it was shocking. But that was my first and only race. And then I remember one time I was too poor to get skis, so I borrowed a friend's skis, but I didn't realize he's 6 feet tall and I'm not.
right. So they were way too long.
They were way too long. Note to self, don't ever do that.
No.
And I asked someone where the greens were because it was my first time on the mountain for the day, and I wanted to warm up. And I only did blues, like that was as high as I went. And so this guy sent me down a double black diamond like an asshole. Ooh. And I nearly killed myself.
Yep.
I went down some mogul, and my knee just went a whole other direction. And then I was stuck, and I was crying, and I was in so much pain. I'm at the top of the mountain, basically. And so they sent one of those emergency people up to come get me. But I have such a problem with getting in like a stretcher or being vulnerable like that. I don't know. Like remember, honey, anytime I had to go to the hospital, we thought I had appendicitis once. And he'd be like, lay down in the bed. I'm like, no, then I'm a patient. No. And I wouldn't do it.
It's a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. So guess who like slid down the mountain, the entire mountain on her butt.
Yeah.
knee.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had a problem with that
Been
knee
there.
the rest of my life. So just don't ever
Wow.
do that. It's stupid. I was in ski club though, and it was really fun. Alyssa and I, my best friend, we used to go. Alyssa used to ski into the trees.
yeah.
I'm like, where are you going? Then boom, she'd like crash into a tree, which is awful.
I have
Luckily, she's okay to tell the stories.
Truly, I have so many memories of either when you were saying the Black Diamond story, my sister rolling down. It's called Seventh Heaven up in Seattle at Stevens Pass, rolling down Seventh Heaven because the poor girl couldn't. I felt so badly. My friend Hannah ran into a tree pit. Like,
Honey,
many a story.
Honey, this one, we're walking down the street the other day in the snow, and she's like, "Yeah, I remember we had to go skiing every weekend." I go, Poor you, Kelsey. We had to go skiing every weekend. You did.
That is not what happened. I said the snow brings back a lot of memories. We had to
go.
We had to
I
go skiing
understand.
every
We
How
had
those
to go
sons of
skiing.
bitches making you
I hate
ski.
you guys.
No, I hate them for you, Kelsey. I'm sorry. There's a bit of abuse there, Dub and Deb. Excuse me, Doug and Deb. Yeah, a little bit.
I'm here for Doug and Deb today.
MILLENNIL spelled millennial. That's me.
We done?
Maria, I have a trivia question for you.
Okay, what's the trivia?
I love my
Can you
Kelsey.
think of your most iconic on-screen moment while you're skiing?
Fantastic Four.
Pretty cool.
Do you know my fun story behind that? So Chris Evans and I we were at Whistler to shoot those scenes, right? And I'm jumping out of the helicopter into a pad. It was so cool. Anyway,
cool.
I didn't know my stunt double was like 6'10". So when you look at the moment when the person jumps out of the plane, the person is like a 6 foot tall man.
Oh my god!
I was like, wow, that was really long.
wow,
So-
look at
Find
me.
it.
Yeah,
That's
it was
funny.
funny. But no, Kelsey did say she had a lot of fun. She didn't mean it like that, but it was really funny.
Kelsey
I go,
was
you
the-
had to go skiing, Kelsey.
One of the most non-millennial millennials, Kelsey.
I can't.
So.
I would just like to say I'm a great
Skier?
No. I was just what's the word? I put up with a lot of their
Guff.
heckling.
Lot of-
She's so good. That's why it's so fun. She's so good at it.
My whole life, I've always. My poor mother and I, but usually I.
No,
would get
I will
it.
say
the
when it comes
best
to
is-
Kelsey, and when it comes to like where she ranks, like in terms of generations, it's N/A, non-applicable.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
For
Yeah,
sure.
not
No.
applicable.
You are a special case, Kelsey. We love you.
I love. I
Um,
said we. I love you guys.
We might say on a nightly basis, oh my God, she's so special. Like, she's so special, but like in the real way, not in the she's so special, in the real way, because you are an angel. But it is
And I'm
funny
sorry because I am-
my dad, honey, my dad all day, he'll be like, who threw out the spoons? I go, "Pff,
Kelsey.
Kelsey. I go, Kelsey, why? Like, we need comedy relief in this house. So literally, it's just been so fun.
Jeff, I want to say, and I think you'll have my back on this as a millennial. I think everyone is special,
Oh my
not
god.
just Kelsey, right?
Well, if we open up the definition of special once again, I do think everyone has something special about them.
Absolutely.
This is true. Winnie's special.
Winnie is
Absolutely.
special. Look at her.
Guys, Winnie is such a little bitch. I love her so much. This morning when she saw me, because she's been sleeping with Auntie Kelsey, this morning when she saw me, she was so divided because she was so hungry, wanted her food, but then she was dancing and hopping to see me. My little bunny bitch.
She was so cute.
Anyhow, so yes, I got the sled, and if we find a place, we will buy more sleds or
ready.
use the trash barrel
Okay,
tops,
so-
because Kevin doesn't understand that the trash barrel tops, this is how you do things, honey. Like, not everything doesn't have to be
There's no
like
way. There's no way to
fancy.
put your hands. Maria, are you?
There is.
are
That's
you-
how we did it when we were kids.
You are gonna go on one little attempt. Like, we've been through this how many times?
No, I'm
We've
gonna sit
been
on
through
Kelsey's
these
lap.
things, and
Yeah,
you're
there
gonna
you
go.
We're gonna
Okay,
go
and I'm gonna
together.
say, are you happy with the $20 or the $18 you saved because that's how much they were?
I just didn't want to have to store a million things, and I
Store a
thought I
million
felt like it was
things.
wasteful.
No.
I hate waste because I'm like, are we
Yeah.
gonna really do this, or are we just gonna take a picture for Instagram where we just slide? And I was like,
Well-
we can each take a picture on the sled, and then we'll be done.
And of course, you're gonna use them eventually, and we have plenty.
Which is
of,
very millennial of me.
But we've dehoarded the house, and now those are the things you do keep, and they go in long-term storage.
Yeah.
And for winter, you bring them out and like whatever.
Yeah.
But
Is it a toboggan you bought or a long one?
It's not the long one. It's like the
it's a little mini sled.
it's a little
Cute.
mini sled. It's
We'll
cute.
see what
I
happens.
love it.
Yeah.
I did look into the small skis.
Blades?
They are not free, people.
No.
I didn't
No.
expect them to be.
No, but then they have something interesting, Jeff. Have you heard of these, like, ski shoes?
Those look like tennis rackets, right?
No, those were snowshoes. These are ski shoes, so they're probably, I don't know, maybe a little over a
I'm gonna ask my dad. My dad will be able to build us something where we put our little like sneaker.
You're not gonna
or
build anything. No, these are great.
We'll duct tape them.
Perfect.
No, let me tell you, Maria. These
What
are.
if we use the trash barrel tops and we duct tape our boots to the middle?
I'm having nothing to do with this.
Perfect.
Because you know what? When it all goes wrong, it's gonna be Fun Balls who's gonna have to clean up the mess. No, I'm not doing this. Anyway,
He's gonna love it.
they have ski shoes, you guys.
Okay.
That are about a little over a foot. That will do what we want.
Okay, cool.
I'm looking at these are crazy. They're
snow
almost
feet.
like ice skates.
Yeah, snow feet,
I'm gonna
mini
look
ski
up.
skates. Yeah.
Listen, we got to make the most of the experience. And
Interesting, right?
Maria, you'll think they're real cool.
Okay, all right.
Ski skates.
Yes, let's make it happen.
Well, I'm gonna do
I'm
some more
gonna pull it up for our people so they can see the ski.
So I'm gonna stand out in the cold so I can appreciate the beauty of being a snowflake.
Back to that.
I have a big
it means it's
gift for Miss Kelsey right now.
Maria, the darkness.
Ooh.
It takes darkness to see the light.
Yes.
How would you not appreciate light if there weren't
This is true.
darkness? I think
Agreed.
that's what he means by the
This
quote.
is true.
Yeah, I agree.
Guys, guess whose birthday it is today?
Harry Styles.
She knew. I thought I was going to break the news to her. All right. Wow.
Thank you, though. Thank you for wishing him a happy birthday.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I saw that trending on Twitter, along with the 9-year-old that was tased and pepper sprayed or whatever. Unbelievable.
Crazy.
But, you know, we like to stick to the positives here.
Right.
But yes, and sticking to the positives, we are going to cover a really cool topic in a little bit. But let's get to our Dunkin' break because Better Together runs on Dunkin'.
That's right.
Every single day. I still love our cheers and cups, by the way.
They're so cute.
Today we get a hot matcha latte and a wake up wrap. Of course, it's our breakfast inspired week. So today we have 2 breakfast options that break the mold: the Dunkin' wake up wrap, which is one of my faves, and the matcha latte. Oh, I thought it was 2 different breakfast options. This says just the wake up wrap and a matcha latte. I just assumed a breakfast option is 2 food items.
Well,
That's why I was
you
like,
know?
wait, is something wrong here? So Jeff, what are you munching on over there? Because with
This is
our
wake-up wrap.
snow situation, we weren't able to get the Dunkin', so you had to do the wake up wrap.
I'm
I
happy
vividly
to,
know what that tastes like because
yeah.
I've eaten about 1 million of them in my lifetime.
I'll describe it, Maria, and you can see if you agree. First of all, I'm happy to take the fall on behalf of the team and have to eat this delicious Dunkin' food.
The
let's see.
warm tortilla, the delicious egg with the melted cheese. You can also add your favorite breakfast meat, right?
Well, the thing I love, it comes with veggies. I'll show you on the screen. The egg has little peppers inside.
Oh,
which
you did
are
the
really
egg white,
good.
the egg white with the roasted veggies.
I guess I just asked for the wake up wrap.
My wake up wrap is always just an egg and cheese.
Well, it has the cheese too. It's really really good.
Maybe the Ohio
thing
version is that way.
yeah, maybe.
I don't know, but maybe in Ohio we're just like healthier. I don't know, but the thing I love about this is the egg white is so soft. It doesn't have sometimes when you have that like manufactured egg white at a chain that's not as high class as Dunkin'.
Right.
It kind of has like a crispy weirdness on the outside that makes it taste weirdly preserved.
Gold.
This is so fresh.
Yeah. Well, and also for people who aren't huge coffee fans or can't have coffee like Miss Kelsey,
That's right.
the matcha latte is a really good other drink to explore. So obviously it's a beautiful fresh taste of green tea, but unlike regular green tea, which steeps and discards the leaves, matcha leaves are ground into the finest powder and then blended directly into the hot water. So you get that kind of frothy, yummy taste. And so I love the matcha lattes as well. So crank up breakfast, your daily breakfast, 2 and 11 with the Dunkin' wake up wrap and a matcha latte. You can get this delivered, of course. I don't believe ours delivers. That's the only issue. But I believe yours will.
Yeah. yeah.
I believe
most
yours
likely.
will. And America runs on Dunkin', but you know Better Together runs on Dunkin'. And yeah, so there we go.
Super good.
So we were supposed to have Priyanka Chopra on the show today, but you got us instead because we had to reschedule her for later this week. But what I love about that is it gives me even more time to keep reading her book. So that is always great. I really, really am like loving her because she's very bold and she's unapologetic, and it's what like all the things that I want to be more of.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm bold,
educated and classy.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's a lot you can watch any bad reality TV show and see unapologetic and bold.
She's the right
and we have just enough of that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree. Very good input, Boo. I love you pop in with just the right thing. That was perfect. And just
regular guy Friday. Regular guy Fridays.
Can you imagine if I was serious?
Yeah, you're like, thank you.
No, I think that's totally totally right. I just love how, and she talks about like sink or swim. And I've always loved being in those positions where you kind of sink or swim, because that's where I feel like life is, where you're like, is it going to work? Is it going to work out? Oh, okay, here we go. And I guess we're technically in a sink or swim situation right now, which is in a different way because it's life and death. And I'm going to get to that. But what I watched in her journey in her life already was her parents just like popped her into different situations and she had to sink or swim. And what I think that created was such a strong individual where she was her own North Star, her own kind of rudder. Like she just had to figure it out.
I feel like that's parents from another culture.
Yeah.
Who are strong enough to do that, where our parents don't want us to sink. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like the inflatable life raft. Warm the temperature of the pool.
Yeah. And she talks about the different traumas that are associated with some of these things, and you see it and you feel it when you're reading it. So I'll be curious to get into with her how she overcame the traumas. Is she still overcoming them? How she's dealt with it all.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really great interview. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, we are in our own kind of sink or swim situation. As I was thinking that, I realized it, and I do kind of enjoy those moments where you don't know the outcome. Now, this is a whole different thing. I wish I knew the outcome on this one with my mom, but we are in that place where we just don't know what's happening. And again, I'm sharing this for all of you who are out there who are in kind of that declining time with a family member or a friend, and you're confused. You're confused if you're in charge on how to handle it, what to do, what the right thing to do is, how to do it without regrets. And then also COVID is adding such a new layer to all of this because COVID is such an unknown. And so the last couple of days have been challenging with my mom, and last night was one of my scariest moments. I mean, it was pretty terrifying, and I was really, really scared, and I couldn't tell what was happening, and she just was really, really weak and really labored in her breathing and her talking. Her talking got super deep. There was like a little gurgling, which unfortunately people talk about as like the sign of like the final stages. And so I'm having kind of a mini panic attack, but staying calm in front of her and trying to get her to tell me what she's feeling so I could help her, and she couldn't even get words out. And it was really scary. And, the last couple days, and I've talked about this on the show, I've really been focusing on manifesting a miracle, because all we talk about in the show all the time is how energy is so powerful. And so why am I going to give energy to the worst case scenario when I could give my energy to the best case scenario? And I'd rather live there, but I also have to kind of, walk it out here on this plane, as I always talk about. So I've been doing energy work on her, and I think I'm going to give Jeff a crack at editing that video. of me doing energy work on my mom and helping her to release her bladder, because I want to show you guys what's possible out there, and that you can do these things. You know, we have these workshops in the Patreon that we have like celebrated healers that are teaching you how to do tapping and how to do Reiki and how to do all these things, because the power is within all of us, and we just aren't tapping into it, or we're scared, or we're shy, or we're embarrassed, or we don't feel like we know what we're doing. So I'm just going to share what I did. But as you're going through your journey, just know there is no right and wrong. It's just trial and error, and it's just trying. And so I said to my best friend this morning as we were I was updating her, I said, as much as I'm afraid in those moments, I shift out really quickly and I get really giddy at the possibility. Ooh. And I'm really like almost equally scared and equally giddy that, oh my God, we could get a miracle. We could. Yeah. And I just keep saying every night, I'm like, I believe in miracles. I've read about them. I've seen them. Why not her? And so with that in mind, when I'm dealing with, different people that are coming in and out who are, making their best assumptions on what's happening, I have to deal with people's beliefs of what's going on and their beliefs of how to handle it. And that's a challenge sometimes. I've had such a blessing to have such collaborative doctors in California with me, which is why I always wanted my mom with me, because I knew that I had the best of the best who, and by the way, she's got the best of the best here. We have amazing doctors everywhere, but I've spent so much time with our doctors there where they get me and they know me, and we have such a trusting kind of relationship, and they don't allow their egos to get in the way. Like I had a very long conversation with Dr. Black last night. He's the top neurosurgeon maybe in the entire world. And I was talking to him about
this. Not to mention just probably one of the most brilliant men that I've ever met.
I mean, his first operation, I think, was like 6 years old. I mean, he's literally a genius.
Yeah, and that's why his friends are like Elon Musk, because his contemporaries. And by the way, it's a credit to you, Maria, that you have the conversations you have with him, because you get his mind working where you look at this in a way different way.
So cool.
But that being said,
it's a great point, Kev.
No, but his ego, Maria, it's incredible, because it takes to do anything great, you have to have a great ego. Every great artist, you know what I mean? It goes hand in hand. But can you check your ego when it needs to be checked? Can any of us? How many times? What is that, Maria, that you've had the ego as the enemy?
Yeah, I have a book I've read, I think it was in 2016, because I'm looking back at my bookmarks, about ego is the enemy. It was given to me by somebody, and I was like, ooh, this is so cool. And I'll share some excerpts that I kind of quickly pulled before the show. But yeah, he's so methodical about things. So like Jeff, I found that treatment in India, and they said that there is an ability to ship it here and this whole thing. And so he asked me very methodical questions, like what, I sent him the PowerPoints and, what does it cost? What are they saying? Blah, 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 blah. And once he gathered all the information, he was like, listen, I think this is, fine to try. And, where other doctors could be like, no, that's not going to work. And it's a waste.
Well, the ego gets in the way.
He always entertains,
right,
always does the work, and is like, and by the way, one of the busiest and most sought after humans on the planet. And I'm so grateful to have those collaborations. Dr. Rudnick at Cedar Sinai, literally an angel, so collaborative, so amazing.
But Maria, the ego thing with these guys, you think about the insult. You're the best of what you do in the world, as you said, right? The people he's operating on, forget it. And you have some civilian girl in you saying, hey, I think I have a better way to save my mom. Now, your ego, for something like that goes, are you really wasting my time with this conversation? You think you know better than me? And Dr. Black, Dr. Rudnick, it's incredible that they don't. And I'm always waiting for them to do so and then try to work around that, because I would expect it. and they don't. But then how many times do we see, Maria, other people, and probably, I don't know if you've done it in your life, I know I have, where I've been guilty of it, but you bring your ego in, and I know the ways to stop doing it if you're doing it, which maybe we can share later. But the fact that these people are not letting their egos get in the way, and so because when you're the person that's close to the party, you've talked about this before, right, Maria? No one's gonna know your mom like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In this case, nobody, no doctor, because they're not with her, and every person's different. And we see with COVID, you want to talk. I thought cancer was mystery meat, meaning like I'm asking questions I'm not getting answers to, because I always say to you, Maria, they don't know. But now with COVID, nobody knows. But you're going to know, you're going to have a leg up on most people because you're like on the internet and calling people, and you're right by your mother's side.
24/7, yeah.
So the thing is, but I love about the doctors that don't have, that can put their ego to the side, is that they're listening to you and they're engaging in discussions. But I think a lot of other people are going to deal with, I know my parents, we dealt with doctors like, yeah, okay, nice try, Kathy. Because my mother was like you.
Well, everyone I know, Kev, anybody who loves their family member is going to research and is going to try and is going to say, what about this treatment? What about that treatment? And I get like doctors,
90%
don't have a lot of time.
Are going to hear, yeah, we got this.
And they don't have a lot of time. Like, listen, we know people in our family who are like conspiracy theorists, and then they get all these things and they just take up the doctor's times with just like madness too.
Right.
So you got to understand their perspective as well.
I do. I get it.
But I just am grateful that we've built this relationship, because they know, like, there were different times I took my mom to Mexico and we tried different things and it worked. And so, but listen, like, it's a challenge right now for us, because you've got people who are like, let her go. And I'm like, well, what are we letting her go of? And that's the key. Nobody knows what we're letting her go of. So how can I let her go? If you told me, here's the blood work that says her organs are in failure.
Due to the cancer, right?
I can't return that. I can't change that. So then you give someone their comfortable, safe passage. No one can tell me that yet for a fact.
Yeah, we don't know if this isn't corona. So
this is kind of like, and I don't know how many people out there have had to deal with this, and please share with me what you've dealt with. You're asking for guidance from people, and, we had our home health nurse here today, and she was so lovely and so helpful. And I said, listen, I'm sure you've had to be a part therapist to people in the past. I go, so here goes. Here are my concerns. My concerns are, I don't really know what's happening. And things are coming and going. And as I've investigated, because I woke up in a pool of sweat last night, soaking wet. And then I couldn't sleep because I'm like, should I be sending her to the hospital? But then if she goes to the hospital, no one can be there. And she wouldn't want that. And then if she goes to the hospital, then they kind of become a guinea pig in a sense, where it's like, oh, let's fix this. It becomes mechanical.
You also can't monitor like you can
Are they going to hand feed her?
Exactly.
The stuff we're doing here, Maria.
So it was like, okay, so you got to eliminate all the things that you're going to feel guilty about or feel like you're doing wrong. So, okay, so I got rid of that. Then I said, okay, so what could it be? And Dr. Black was saying, there could be little blood clots that the sonograms didn't pick up. That's something they're seeing with COVID. Then we researched the kidneys. Now her kidneys, they're actually, her creatine level wasn't bad.
And when did we take that, Maria?
We did those 2 weeks ago. So her kidneys were actually okay.
But let's see now.
But, when you look up the side effects or the symptoms of a kidney issue, you get the dark urine, which we've had. You get no urine, which we've had. You get sometimes it comes and it goes, and the confusion
fatigue.
and the sleepiness. But those are also the symptoms of the sleepiness, and all of that is symptoms of the brain tumor and symptoms of COVID in general. So I feel like we're dealing with a kidney thing, but I'm not sure. But I said to her, I go, I'm not going to allow something small that can be fixed to go unfixed.
And what's the most important thing, Maria, in this?
Comfortable, safe, and pain-free, and happy.
Well, yes, except I should ask the question a different way. What does your mom want?
My mom wants to live.
That's it.
Yeah. That's it.
And
We've
so
asked
I
her
have to
that-
give her every chance.
But we've asked her, to be clear,
That's a huge
you've asked her.
That is a really big point.
Yeah.
You've asked her clearly,
Yeah.
Mom.
She's
you
wanting to take that chemo. She wants.
Okay.
So we gave her, Dr. Rudnick and I were talking, we gave her a break off the chemo. And so the last 2 nights she hasn't had it. Well, this morning she woke up and she was perkier. And she was laughing and smiling, and she ate her breakfast. Now she's been sleeping since, and that's something that we've been dealing with, a lot of sleepiness. But she was better, and she wasn't, that deep voice wasn't there, and the gurgling wasn't there. And so the other part of kind of the last stages is these things kind of come and go, and it's a roller coaster, and it really is an emotional roller coaster, right? But you know, there's that question of when to let go and when not to let go, and knowing that she wants to keep fighting, I got to keep fighting, and I of course want to keep fighting, and then also trying to manage everyone else's beliefs, expectations, and thoughts and opinions is something that's also challenging without alienating or scolding or whatever, like, because all of that, people's tempers can flare.
Keeping your ego out of that.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'm kind of just sharing because I think that there's a lot of confusion right now around what is ailing your family member, because COVID is so unknown. And so know that you're not alone in that, and know that it is very tricky and we're all trying to figure it out. We did get blood work and some urine today, so we'll see where she's at. And I said that will help inform me as I'm making decisions, because I can't just make decisions blindly.
And
Especially when someone's trusted me to take care of them.
Right.
And, you know, yesterday my aunt Helen was saying, she was like, you know, she was very emotional. She goes, your mom never complained. She has handled this so gracefully. And she always said, Maria's going to take care of it. Don't worry. And she looked at me and she goes, no pressure. And I'm like,
Okay.
yeah. And I don't want to assume. Mrs. Rudstein, my 2nd grade teacher, she was so good. She really hammered it into my head. Never assume. You make an ass out of you and me. And that's when I was like, I can say ass. 2nd grade. I was so excited. But you don't want to assume, and I don't want to assume. And I am, like I said, I am giddy at the possibility of a miracle. And I want to encourage you to be giddy about the possibility of a miracle in your life or your loved one's life, because it is possible. And
manage those egos. Manage your own ego, and then manage the egos of those people around you. And I will say the one way to manage that is to have a big picture mentality. So keep asking yourself, what does mom want? In this case, Maria, right? Like, let's say a doctor comes in with a better idea. Let's say a family member has a better idea, or a family member says, no, Maria, she's actually really suffering. Stop it.
Right.
You can't be like, F you, I'm with her every day. You're not. You got to step back, big picture, look at the big picture.
Yeah.
Is mom really suffering? And you and I, Maria, we've been at our best when we've taken our egos out of situations. There were family members who were very jealous of your parents once they became successful. And, you know, they weren't so nice to us, especially to me. But I remember there was a couple of family members that weren't nice to me, and weren't so nice to you, but weren't nice to me. But they were the few that were very nice to your mom and dad. And I said, Maria, that's what matters. It's not, I got to take my ego out of this. We be friends with them because they're protecting mom and dad back in Connecticut when we're not there. And so we did. But that's a challenge. I've also had times where I've given someone advice on their careers. You know, this very, very dear friend I had a terrible falling out with, because I wanted him and her, there were two of them, 2 hosts. I got them a job hosting a national talk show, but there was no money involved. I'm like, but who cares? It's national. You'll be on there. And I promise in 6 months or a year, Good Morning America Today, they'll all see you. And they were like, no, our agent wants us to fight for money. And I got really mad because I knew that was going to now, ultimately, I was right. It blew the deal. They scared everyone away because the place had no money. And I was putting myself out there to this other show saying, hey, you can use my studios. I'll donate the studios. I really just wanted my kids to win. But it got my ego upset. So I said stupid things. Like, I can get any, you know how many people they could get to just do this? I could get anyone to just do, you know, and they took it like, well, we're just anybody, and it just led to something really bad because I let my ego get in the way. So it's really hard when you're managing these situations. But I encourage, there's such a lesson in ego being the enemy, Maria. And that's what I was watching yesterday. I'm like, wow, your doctors in LA, it's not the enemy with them. And you too, you know, you're always very good at me, you know, Kelsey and Jeff too.
Are you about to say something nice about me?
I am right now. Yes, I am. No,
Yes.
because I'm the hot-headed Italian. Like, you know, I admit that. You know what I mean? Like the crazy, like Boston Italian. We're the best of friends and the worst of enemies. You know, and I know that. But then I've been working on that for decades. But you're the one who's always fair. Who goes, no, Kevin, this is what's going on. It's not what you think. Relax. Or you go, no, you really have every reason to be mad right now. So you're very, as your godfather always said, firm, fair, consistent.
Yeah.
That's how you need to be. Firm, fair, consistent. By the way, these are not things that I do. But but I know in my brain that they're the right way to be.
Yeah.
I think for me, like the thing I'm so impressed by, and I think is valuable for our audience, is just you mentioned how gracefully your mom is handling all this. And you both are too. I think there's just such an elegance to the way that you all have handled this news, the challenges you're facing. I think that's such an important and empowering point, is no matter how out of control things are, you can choose how you handle the situation.
Yeah.
And I really think, you know, there's the version of this where you're very angry. You're angry at God, you're angry at the universe, and you probably have been. And I think those are okay feelings to work for. I think we bring it to God, but at least in a front-facing way for us, for your Heal Squad, and for your mom, you've been really balanced and elegant and gracious about it. Yeah. And to me, this relates to the ego thing too. There's nothing more attractive in a person than someone who is measured and reasonable and approaches life in an elegant, classy way. And I think that has to do with the ego thing too. And that's very empowering as well. Even when you feel like you're powerless, the power you have in choosing to process and handle challenging situations in a gracious, elegant, and classy way is, I think, really, really important.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I think, you know, I always tell people, like, how do you want your story to be told?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a really great way to help you become more graceful in the eye of challenges.
Yeah.
And, you know, with my brain tumor, I remember making a very clear decision that I was going to let comedy rule, and I was going to know that this was happening for me, not to me. And I was going to use that as I propelled forward. I wasn't going to be, oh, woe is me, and crying and making everyone, like, you know, feel bad. And it just wasn't the way I wanted to go through this journey. And I figured, you know, a few laughs, which, you know, that's, to me, that's why we're laughing here at everything we can, whether it's dirty jokes with my mom or whatever I can do to get a laugh. And that was my choice. But guys, it made it so much easier. Yeah. Now, it was not easy not being able to walk and having a walker, and like the celebration when I actually was able to walk to the corner store was so major. And then, you know, walking home, I remember I'm like holding on to Kevin. I was like, I can't believe we made it. We made it. Like, it was not easy, but it was made easier because I chose to go through it in a different way.
Also,
and so,
Maria, there's, you know, you went through it with, I don't want everyone to think like you went through it saying, I'm just going to laugh through this, whatever. No, the reason, Jeff, so just the reason we've been the way we are, and I encourage other people to be proactive in these situations. There's no time for that. There's no time to blame God. We're trying to save Lisa. There's no time to blame God. We're trying to get that tumor out of your brain, Maria, so you can walk. But when people, again, like I always say, like, man, like the people just sitting around and the devil's playground, and then
idle time is the devil's playground.
Yeah, you know, you there's no time for that.
But that's a great point, because you can, again, it's choices in life, right? You can choose to focus on all of the bad and focus on who you want to blame and all of that. None of that's helping you or them.
Nope.
And so that's why I keep saying energy is so powerful. If we know energy is powerful, why not believe in the miracle? Why not keep asking for it? Why I keep envisioning my mom getting out of that bed and walking and laughing and smiling, and us being able to say, oh my God, she's a miracle. It worked. It helped. We did it. And like I said, at the risk of looking stupid, because tomorrow something else might happen. I don't know. But why not have my attention go there? Why not have my attention go into conversations with someone who, is in India and thinks they have something that could cure her? Why not? Let's do everything that we can and have that mentality. It doesn't mean I don't have, by the way, does not mean I don't have moments where I'm like, honey, I'm scared. And I'll grab him, I'm like, I'm scared. And then we talk and I'm like, okay. And then I shift. Or I'll call my best friend, I'm like, I'm scared. Or I'll look at Kelsey, I'm like, I'm scared. I'm having those moments, but I'm shifting out of them quickly, because nothing good is coming from fear unless it's guiding you to a solution, which in the middle of the night, yes, my fear was guiding me into doing some research and guiding me into pushing harder. So you gotta let it guide you to something better, not spiral you down. And so, yeah, I think that's why with this, it's the same thing. It's how do we want to go through this? This could go on for months. Do we want to be suffering and becoming sick? And my mom wouldn't want that. And your loved one wouldn't either. So I did pull some really cool ego things that we can share maybe in the Patreon this week. And we can do a whole episode on the ego, because I think that could be really fascinating. And that book, Ego is the Enemy, is really incredible.
Think about how many problems if you have with your friends, not you, Maria, but I'm saying everybody, if to the audience, or with family or whatever, or bosses, and think about how much is tied to ego.
Oh,
Everything. A
yeah.
lot.
Well,
Like I never minded the bosses. It was like where the decisions were based on what was was really a good business decision for the company, but the ones that were just based on ego, oh man.
Yeah. And I
And
do
what you do in those moments is you actually make yourself look weaker. That's why, like, what I was saying about the ability to handle situations with grace in class is such an attractive quality and such a powerful quality, because when we see people break because of their ego, they look weak and insecure and kind of pathetic, right? And, they might have that moment where they're on a soapbox and they're scary for 5 minutes, but an hour later, as both the person who got yelled at and the person who's yelling process it, they both know that it was a moment of weakness, actually, that person showed, because they let their feelings get in the way of reasonability and their own inner power, I think.
Ooh, good one.
It's true.
Very true. All right, guys. Well, we ain't giving up.
I did want to say one thing, Maria. I have to say, because I'm here with you both, that a lot of people can look nice and look graceful and that they're handling everything well, like on camera, right? But I'm here with you both, and you actually are not in front of the camera as well. And I literally every day I'm like, how Maria's still smiling? Like, it's pretty dang remarkable. I mean, both of you, like, it's so cool to watch you both support one another the way you do, and the way you just like give your 120,000% to your mom. I'm like, it's amazing. So
Thanks.
she's like that. They're both like that in front of the camera as well as behind. So
Thank you.
I think that's important.
Well, it's funny you said that, because you made me cry, like when you said she's still smiling, because I remember when my mom's tumor came back a year-ish ago, and I was like, John Edward had kept telling me that there was some conversations that I needed to have with my mom that I hadn't had yet. And I was like, I don't know what he's talking about, but I had this moment where I got on the couch with her and we were talking, and I just blurted out how afraid I was and how I just wanted her to know that I was doing everything I could. And she was like, you don't think I know? And I said, I don't know. And I'm guttural crying with her. And I didn't really do that a lot because, I'm the one who's guiding. You can't, as a leader, guide when you're breaking down, right? But then I had to be the daughter for a minute. And so I was shifting into daughter mode. And she said, Maria, I don't, she basically was like, I don't know what's going to happen. She's like, and I'm okay. And she's like, but if something happens, she's like, I want you to keep smiling.
Oy.
Oh my God.
And I was like, wailing. And so that's why I say to people, no one that loves you would want you to suffer. And I think I'm not doing this so that I don't suffer. I'm doing this because I am still fighting for her.
Amen.
And so I'm going to continue doing my energy
I think
work
you're
in my
fighting-
own way.
And you're fighting for a lot of people with brain tumors, Maria, too.
Yeah.
Because of what all of your quote unquote patients that you
Mhm.
have on your
My
roster
patience.
that you deal with, this is all of it helps them too.
I just want to show people there's another way.
Yeah.
And last night I was reading a lot of chats about kind of the end stages of glioblastoma. And I was shocked. Not shocked, but like it was a lot to take in when it was like, my dad was diagnosed, he died a month later. My dad was diagnosed, he died a week later. My mom was diagnosed, she died 3 months later. And I feel like there's so much to share. Yes, my mom obviously responded really well, and we were very lucky too. But I know that we did a lot.
Yeah.
And I know we did stuff that everybody can do.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've been on a mission to share as much as I can with people. And it's not just for glioblastoma. A lot of it is just generic for cancer and illness and any of it, because there's so much more we're capable of, so much more available to us. And that's where, going back to having great doctors, having a great collaboration with your doctors is really important. And knowing that you're going to have to do the work. You know, it's not on them. You can't just say, hey, you know, a lot of people I know, they're like, hey, you know, I just read this in the New York Post, like, here's this new glioblastoma treatment. So it's like, that's where doctors get frustrated, because like, they're like, that hasn't even gone through any trials yet. It's still early on.
And like you said, they don't have time to read an article.
And they don't even have time to do it. So it's like, you have to do the work.
Yeah.
You have to research. You have to figure it out. You have to go to the doctor, like I did with Mexico, and say, here are the things that we're going to do. Is anything on this list going to interact poorly with what she's doing with you, or going to jeopardize her in any way? And then you work with them. And that's what we did.
Both of our hearts go out to the people that don't have the resources we do. And Maria, you're always mentioning that. You always say, how do people do it? How do people?
Yeah.
Maria will be crying her eyes out. You know, and I feel it's terrible for people. There are ways to do it. Not on Maria's level. There are, you know, we didn't have much with my mom and I, with my dad, but we definitely gave it everything we had back. That was 20 something years, 30 years ago maybe. But it's really hard if, and hopefully that you'll be getting a lot of tools on this show and other shows to kind of, and other information out there to help. Well, you
That's
can,
why we're here.
well,
You're
you
right,
can do
Kev.
it.
Because when
It's
you know
hard.
better, you get better.
But yeah, it's hard.
And I
mean,
will say,
you know,
everything on these shows is free. Because Kev, you're right that it is hard without those resources. But, you know, all the tools and tips and takeaways about emotional wellness and spirituality and faith, they don't cost anything. So you can also feel empowered if you're listening to this show, knowing that any of these episodes, the takeaways you pull, don't cost you a thing.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, I got to get back to caretaking, and then I got to figure out when I get my break so I can go outside and sled a little.
Yes.
Because it's all about having some fun too, right? And thank you guys for joining us as always. Thank you to our Heal Squad. We love you guys. We're grateful for you. And Kelsey's going to be sending out the RSVP invite for the Cindy Dale event for our Patreon members. If you haven't joined us on Patreon, you might want to join right now so you can be a part of this event on February 10th. We're doing a heart chakra opening workshop, and at the $10 tier a month you can join and be a part of this and gain access to our library of workshops. So join us. If you go to Better Together with Maria on Instagram and click the link, you can become a member
That's right.
of the Superhero Squad
Superhero Squad.
very easily. We're trying to get to 10,000 followers on Better Together with Maria, so if you could help us. And by the way, swipe all of your friends' cell phones at the dinner table, even if it's just your family members or anyone you come into contact with, and just say, hey, can you just hit follow?
We're so
It will help
close.
you because we'll have great things in there for you. That would be great. Tomorrow, it looks like we have Adam Carolla on the show. He is obviously a radio personality, comedian, actor, podcaster. I've done his show many times. And we're going to discuss how he created his own success by embracing a then unknown medium called podcasting. Only other
excited.
person only other person I know that was like, oh, let's do podcasting was
Kevin.
Mr. Hawaii over there, who
was Mr. Aloha.
Mr. Aloha was like, you got to get into podcasting. What the hell's podcasting?
12 years ago, I was saying that.
Yep.
But with Adam, you know, he's a great story because he didn't come from very humble beginnings, pretty poor family, and negative family. Negative. You're nothing. And he was a legit construction worker, you know, working out in like the worst conditions, dreaming of something bigger.
Wow.
And so it'd be interesting to see, you know, how he got there. And then, you know, he also was fired and dealt with a lot of rejection and then went out and did something on his own. So I think there's a lot of valuable information that he doesn't usually give out, but he'll give to us.
All right. So join us for that. In the meantime, you can follow us at Better Together with Maria, at Jeffrey Crane Graham, at Kelsmeyer 2, at Princess Winnie. I love you, my little poodle bitch, and so happy you're here with Mama so that she has her emotional support.
That's right.
Oh, she's so cute. Thank you guys as always. Be nice people, make good choices, and be present.